Stop scrolling, because the next penny you spend could be the one you should have saved. I'm exposing 4 US wheat pennies that look ordinary, worn and forgotten, yet the smallest details can turn them into hidden wealth. Check your pocket now. Nobody talks about what collectors are fighting to find. Stay with me, because each coin gets rarer, more shocking, and harder to ignore. Do not spend these coins. Coin number 1. Imagine finding a penny so dirty and beaten up that you almost throw it back into a jar without a second thought. That is exactly where the danger begins. This 1940 wheat penny has no mint mark, and that tiny absence is the first thing you need to understand. In 1940 Ampere's coin without a mint mark was struck at Philadelphia, not automatically a rare error. But when collectors inspect an old penny like this, they are not just looking at the date. They are hunting for originality, sharp details, unusual surfaces, and anything that separates an ordinary survivor from a serious collector piece. The year 1940 sits at a fascinating point in American history. The United States was still officially outside the Second World War, but the nation was watching events overseas and preparing for a rapidly changing world. Industry was expanding, uncertainty was building, and the country was moving toward a period that would completely transform American manufacturing. Millions of pennies were needed for everyday commerce, which meant enormous production. Philadelphia alone struck hundreds of millions of 1940 cents. So why should you care about one today? Because surviving examples have spent more than 8 decades being handled, dropped, scratched, cleaned, buried, and spent. Now look closely at the front. You should see Abraham Lincoln facing right with "In God We Trust" above his head, "Liberty" to the left, and the date 1940 on the right. On a Philadelphia issue, there is no mint mark beneath the date. Flip it over, and the reverse carries the classic wheat penny design. 2 wheat ears framing the words 1 cent and United States of America with a pluribus unum above. That simple design is instantly recognizable, and that is part of its emotional appeal. You're holding a small piece of everyday America that has survived from a world that barely resembles ours. And then comes the physical test. A standard 1940 Lincoln cent weighs about 3.11 grams, measures approximately 19.05 millimeters across, and is roughly 1.5 millimeters thick. Its edge is plain, not reeded, and its circumference, or girth if you prefer that term, is roughly 59.85 millimeters. The coin was made from bronze, primarily copper, with small amounts of tin and zinc. Pick one up, and it has that unmistakable warm, solid feel of an old bronze cent. Those specifications are important because collectors can use them to help identify altered, damaged, or suspicious pieces. But your particular coin has another visual story: black, rusty-looking dirt, and an aged surface. And this is where I want you to slow down. Dark color does not automatically mean rarity. Dirt does not automatically mean value. Sometimes an ugly coin is simply an ugly coin. But original toning and untouched surfaces can matter enormously when the underlying coin has genuine collector appeal. Never clean it. Do not polish it, scrub it, soak it, or try to make it look brand new. Cleaning can leave permanent hairlines and destroy the original surface that collectors want to see. Here is what I would check first. Start with the 1940 date, then confirm the absence of a mint mark beneath the date. Next, examine Lincoln's hair, cheek, jawline, and the lettering for wear. Turn the coin over and study the wheat stalks and the words 1 cent. Look for unusual doubling, cracks, die characteristics, or damage, but don't assume every strange-looking mark is an error. Minting pressure and die wear can create interesting appearances, while later damage can create equally convincing fake signals. This detail changes everything. You need to know whether the feature was created at the mint or happened after the coin entered circulation. And now think about survival. A 1,940 cent wasn't designed to become a collector's treasure. It was made to circulate. It passed through hands, cash registers, pockets, drawers, and coin jars. Decades of friction gradually erased the finest details. That's why genuinely attractive original examples can command more attention than heavily damaged pieces. Your black rusty surface may look terrible to the average person, but if the coin underneath has strong original characteristics, it deserves to be examined rather than casually spent. There is also a major distinction between a coin being old and a coin being rare. A Philadelphia 1940 wheat penny is not rare simply because it has reached an advanced age. Collectors care about grade, eye appeal, originality, varieties, errors, and authentication. That is why professional grading becomes critical when serious money is involved. If you believe your coin has an unusual characteristic or exceptional preservation, don't gamble with it. Protect it in an appropriate holder and have a reputable professional evaluate it. Now comes the number you've been waiting for. But remember, condition and authenticity can completely change a coin's real market price. For this video, the supplied auction figure is $88,000, described as a potential value for the coin being featured. That is not a guarantee that every 1,940 Philadelphia wheat penny is worth $88. In fact, ordinary circulated examples can be worth dramatically less. The real lesson is that you should never confuse a headline figure with a confirmed appraisal. Serious collectors want evidence, grading, provenance, and a legitimate market comparison. Still, imagine the possibility. A tiny bronze coin sitting unnoticed in an old collection, a forgotten box, or a family coin jar could suddenly become the object of serious attention if it possesses the right combination of condition, originality, variety, or error. That's the hidden wealth feeling that keeps collectors searching. At an auction, genuine rarity can change the atmosphere completely. Bidding becomes competitive. Buyers hesitate to let the coin go, and desirable pieces may disappear into private collections instead of returning to circulation. So if you have a 1,940 wheat penny with no mint mark, don't rush. Do not spend this coin. Don't clean it. Don't scrape the dirt away. Preserve the original surface. Photograph both sides. Inspect the date and details under good lighting, and seek professional grading when justified. Patience is part of collecting. Sometimes the biggest mistake isn't failing to find treasure, it's destroying the evidence before you realize what you found. And that's what makes this first penny so dangerous to ignore. It may look like nothing more than an old, dirty cent, but one tiny characteristic can send you down a completely different path. This is not fiction. This is why collectors inspect coins that everyone else overlooks. But don't get comfortable, because the next penny on this list has another date and another story, and the detail hiding on that one could make this 1,940 look like the easy discovery. Next up, coin number 2. Here's where this gets interesting. A 1,955 wheat penny with no mint mark can look almost too ordinary to notice, especially when it has already spent decades changing hands. But an extra fine example deserves a much closer look. The date alone isn't enough to make it a fortune, and that's exactly why you need to know what you're actually holding. Most people miss this. The difference between an ordinary 1,955 cent and a highly desirable example can come down to details so small you might overlook them completely. The 1,955 penny was produced during a major period of change in post-war America. The country was deep into an economic expansion. Consumer spending was growing, and American manufacturing was becoming increasingly powerful. Everyday coins were moving constantly through shops, petrol stations, vending machines, and tills. Philadelphia struck the no-mint mark, 1,955 Lincoln cents, in enormous numbers. Yet more than 7 decades later, finding one that remains in genuinely attractive, extra-fine condition is a completely different experience. Turn the coin over in your hand and start with the obverse. Abraham Lincoln faces right beneath the inscription, "In God we trust." To his left is liberty, while 1,955 appears on the right. Because this is the Philadelphia issue, there is no mint mark beneath the date. That missing letter isn't automatically an error. It is exactly what you would expect from a Philadelphia cent. But collectors still inspect that area carefully because the date, spacing, and surrounding surface can reveal important clues about the coin's authenticity and variety. Now flip it over. The reverse features the familiar 2 wheat ears with 1 cent in the center, United States of America around it, and E pluribus unum above. Those wheat stalks are more than decoration. Their remaining detail helps reveals how much circulation where the coin experienced. On an extra fine specimen, you want stronger definition than you would expect on a heavily worn coin. The wheat lines, lettering, and Lincoln's facial features should still retain meaningful detail. Physically, this is the classic Lincoln cent size. A normal 1,955 wheat penny weighs approximately 3.11 grams, measures about 19.05 millimeters in diameter, and is roughly 1.5 millimeters thick. Its plain edge gives it a circumference of approximately 59.85 millimeters. The coin is a bronze alloy, primarily copper, with smaller amounts of tin and zinc. That composition gives an original example its distinctive warm bronze appearance. If your coin looks unusually bright, silver-colored, or chemically altered, don't assume you've discovered something extraordinary. Investigate first. And now we reach the part that could separate your coin from thousands of ordinary examples. Condition. Extra fine means the coin has experienced circulation, but important design details remain clearly visible. Look at Lincoln's hair, cheek, jaw, coat, and the lettering. Then inspect the reverse. Are the wheat ears still sharply defined? Are the letters strong? Are there distracting scratches, dents, stains, or harsh cleaning marks? Collectors can become extremely picky at this level because small differences in preservation can dramatically change desirability. There is also a famous reason the year 1955 gets collectors excited, the 1955 double die obverse. But don't make the mistake of assuming every 1955 no-mint mark penny is that famous variety. A genuine double die has specific characteristics, especially visible doubling in parts of the date and lettering. Random scratches, machine doubling, damage, or camera effects are not the same thing. This detail changes everything. If you suspect a genuine variety, don't alter the coin. Preserve it exactly as found and have it examined by a qualified expert. And please remember something that could save you from making a costly mistake. Never clean this coin. Extra fine condition is valuable partly because of what remains on the original surface. Scrubbing away dark areas, artificial-looking stains, or natural toning can leave permanent hairlines and reduce collector appeal. Original toning matters. Even if the coin looks dirty, that surface is part of its history. Put the cloth down. Put the chemicals away. Do not spend this coin and do not clean it. For this video, the supplied auction figure is $751,000, described as a potential market figure without relying on additional errors or rare examples. But that headline number should never be treated as a guaranteed price for every 1,955 Philadelphia wheat penny. Actual value depends heavily on authentication, grade, variety, eye appeal, and documented market evidence. Professional grading is critical if you believe you have an exceptional specimen. One verified characteristic can completely change the conversation, while an ordinary circulated example may be worth far less. That's why collectors don't simply look at the date and throw the coin into a pile. They study it. They compare it. They photograph it. They protect it. And when a genuinely scarce, desirable example appears at auction, bidding can become surprisingly aggressive. Collectors who have spent years searching for a particular variety may not want to let it disappear. Some buyers hold these coins for years, while others quietly wait for the right opportunity to acquire one. As supply of exceptional examples remains limited, competition can become intense. So check your 1,955 wheat penny carefully. Confirm the date. Confirm that there is no mint mark. Examine the condition. Look for unusual doubling, but don't confuse damage with a mint-made variety. Protect the coin from moisture and unnecessary handling. And if something looks genuinely unusual, professional evaluation could be the smartest move you make. Patience creates wealth in collecting because rushing can destroy the very evidence that makes a coin interesting. This is why a little brown penny can become such a powerful hidden treasure story. To most people, it's pocket change from another era. To the right collector, the right variety, the right grade, and the right original surface can create a completely different level of interest. Stay alert, because the next coin is even more dangerous to overlook. Its date is different, its story is different, and the tiny detail collectors hunt for could be the one that makes you check every old penny you own. Next up, coin number 3. There is something almost deceptive about the 1,957D wheat penny. It doesn't need a spectacular error or a strange-looking date to catch a collector's attention. Sometimes the real story is hiding in the combination of the date, the tiny D mint mark, the strike, and the condition. And if the penny you're holding has that worn brown Barwon shed appearance you described, don't dismiss it. But don't assume it's automatically rare either. The truth is much more interesting. The 1,957D Lincoln wheat cent was struck at the Denver Mint, and the D beneath the date is the clue that separates it from the Philadelphia issue. Denver produced about 1,051 billion of these cents, so this is not a scarce date in ordinary circulated condition. PCGS actually describes the 1,957D as a common coin, except in very high grades. That distinction matters, because collectors aren't simply chasing the date, they're chasing exceptional preservation, strong strikes, attractive surfaces, and scarce, high-grade survivors. Now look at the front. Abraham Lincoln faces right, with "In God We Trust" above him, "Liberty" to the left, and 1,957 on the right. Directly beneath the date sits the small D for Denver. Flip it over, and the classic wheat reverse appears. Two wheat ears frame 1 cent and United States of America, while E pluribus unum sits across the top. That familiar design is exactly why these coins remain so popular. The wheat reverse disappeared after 1958, making every surviving example a piece of the final chapter of the original Lincoln wheat cent era. And here's something collectors immediately notice: the surface. Your coin is described as brown, weathered, and worn, and that appearance tells a story. Copper naturally changes color with age and exposure. But black spots, corrosion, or dirt aren't automatically signs of rarity. They can actually hurt eye appeal. PCGS specifically advises collectors to watch for carbon spotting and notes that the most desirable high-grade 1957D examples are fully struck and have strong original red color. The physical specifications give us another way to identify what you're holding. A genuine 1957D wheat cent weighs about 3.11 grams, measures approximately 19 millimeters across, and has a plain edge. Its thickness is around 1.5 millimeters, while its circumference, or girth, is roughly 59.7 millimeters. The coin is made from approximately 95% copper, with tin and zinc making up the remainder. These numbers aren't just trivia. If a supposedly valuable coin has a dramatically incorrect weight or size, that's a reason to stop and investigate before believing the story. Now zoom in on that tiny D. Most people barely notice it. Collectors do. They examine its shape, position, surrounding metal, and whether the coin shows characteristics associated with known varieties. The 1957D has multiple major color classifications: brown, red-brown, and red, and condition becomes increasingly important as the grade rises. That's where the excitement begins. A worn brown example and a spectacular red high-grade example may share the exact same date and mint mark, yet their collector appeal can be worlds apart. This is also why you should never look at a dirty old penny and immediately reach for a cleaning product. Do not clean this coin. Don't scrub it, polish it, scrape the spots, or try to make the copper shine. Original toning can tell the story of the coin's surface, while artificial cleaning can leave permanent scratches that collectors immediately notice. If you believe you've discovered something unusual, preserve it exactly as found. Professional grading is critical when a coin appears exceptional because authentication and condition can completely change its market position. And now, the number you've been waiting for. For this video, you've supplied a claimed auction market figure of $471,000 for this 1957D wheat penny. But I want to make one thing crystal clear. That figure should not be presented as the normal value of every 1957D cent. Current documented PCGS auction information shows dramatically lower realized prices for certified examples, including an MS67RD example sold for $350, while the listed auction record for the type is $6,600 at MS67 plus RD. PCGS. So where does that leave the coin in your hand? It leaves you with something worth investigating, not something you should automatically call a $471,000 fortune. A genuine high-grade or unusual variety can attract serious collector attention, but a circulated, spotted example is a completely different category. That distinction is what separates real coin collecting from internet hype. And yet, this is exactly why collectors keep searching. Imagine an auction where a truly exceptional 1957D appears, Sharply struck, original beautiful color, minimal distractions, and professionally authenticated. Suddenly, the room changes. Buyers who have been building Lincoln cent collections for years may compete aggressively because the best examples aren't sitting around forever. PCGS estimates only a small number of survivors in the highest grades, even though the overall issue had a huge mintage. PCGS. So check yours carefully. Start with 1957, find the D beneath the date. Examine Lincoln's hair, cheek, jaw, coat, and the lettering. Then flip it over and study the wheat ears and central lettering. Look for unusual doubling, die characteristics, cracks, or other genuine mint-made features, but don't mistake scratches, corrosion, or post-mint damage for an error. Most people miss this. The story isn't simply old penny equals big money. The real treasure is knowing exactly what makes your particular coin different. Protect the original surface, avoid cleaning, and don't rush to sell because someone online throws out a giant number. If your coin appears significantly better than normal or shows a legitimate variety, professional evaluation is the smart move. Patience matters. A coin that survives for decades doesn't need to be rushed through your hands in 5 minutes. The 1957D may look like nothing more than an old brown wheat penny, but it represents something collectors understand deeply. Condition can change everything. The right coin can become hidden wealth, while an ordinary example remains an interesting piece of history. And that's exactly why you should never casually spend one without checking it first. Do not spend this coin. Keep your eyes on that tiny D, protect the surface, and remember what you've just learned. Because the next coin takes us into an even more intriguing part of the wheat penny story, and the detail hiding there could be the one that makes collectors stop, look twice, and start bidding.